October 8th, 2025, and I'd like to open the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for this evening. I'd like to announce that this meeting is being televised live on local cable channel 8 and 1072 HD. Could we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Okay, next. Does anyone have a public comment regarding anything not related to any agenda items tonight? If so, please check in with Mary Ann, 2 to my left, and you can have 3 minutes to make your comment. Any comments from the audience or after something not on the agenda? Great, thank you. Let's move forward. If for some reason when we're doing a specific application, I do not go to the public, please raise your hand, remind me. I hope that I don't forget, but everybody has a right to speak. That doesn't mean being repetitive and taking a lot of extra time that you really don't need, but certainly I want to listen to anyone that wants to give us input. That being said, we need to manage who's going to do the sitting, the whole thing. All right, so let's do it this way.
Well, there's only 5 of us. So.
Yeah, I know. So it's going to be our 3 regular members and our 2 associates, right? So you're going to be in the hot seat, Mike. Join us. Thank you. That's great. So that being said, Mike, why don't you read? Well, we were going to take that out of order, right? So let's.
No. You can do these 3.
So you want to do these first 3?
New hearings.
All right.
Yeah, these 3.
Once we get the new hearings, you want to go to chapter?
Yes.
All right. Mike, would you please read the first continued hearing?
Okay. Continued hearings. 9 Tusquin Road, owners Mario and Gina Recepero request a written finding under 174-17 of the zoning bylaws to construct a sunroom addition in place of an existing rear deck to a pre-existing non-conforming structure on property located in R3 zoning district, map 72, parcel 8, Mashpee, Mass. Continued from September 10th, 2025.
So if you could give us your name.
Yes, sir.
One second. Yeah, probably. I may mix it up a little bit because you're. Give us your name and your involvement in the project, please.
Yep, Mike Canada, I'm here representing 9 Tuspequin. As he said, I will echo, we're here our second time presenting before the board with the chief problem. The last time we were here is that we didn't have conservation approval at the time. So we came back, we got a conservation approval, so we're good. We have their blessing. But to refresh everybody, the project itself is very simple. They want to build a 15 by 21 foot sunroom addition in the area where a 15 by 21 foot deck currently exists. So the property is pre-existing non-conforming. We're not proposing any change in the building envelope. Therefore, we're not going to be changing or adding to its non-conformity in any form or fashion. We're not going to be taking out any vegetation of any kind. We're just going to remove the deck that's on sonotubes there now and put a sunroom in its place, also on sonotubes. The water runoff is going to be contained in 2 NDS 50-gallon dry wells, which are shown on the engineering plan. That was another thing at the last meeting that wasn't there that you wanted shown. So I went back to Cape and Islands, had those depicted. And the other issue we did for you that was an issue for you in review was the lot coverage numbers. So I had Cape and Islands Engineering correct those also. So I think the plan is to your satisfaction at this point. So the project itself is very, very basic, very simple. If you have any questions, that's really it. It's very simple.
The lot coverage actually gets small.
It actually got smaller, yeah,
I'm thinking too.
So,
by a little bit.
but the footprint didn't increase. on
No, because
setbacks
there's
in
a
any
little
direction.
piece of deck that's a step down in front of that's getting eliminated, and therefore the lot coverage
That's why lot
got,
coverage.
yeah, it got less. So it's slightly less, but nevertheless, it's less.
Mary Ann, do we have any new letters?
We have Board of Health and Concom.
So why don't we read those? Why don't we read the Board of Health and Concom, please? Yes, you want to do that, please?
Yeah, Board of Health. No issues, house is in a zone 2, and must remain 2-bedroom. Conservation? We don't have anything on conservation.
They approved it, so.
Yeah, they approved that.
I
Should be in
get
there.
conservation here, isn't it?
Did you do an NOI with conservation or
there's nothing on
determination
there,
applicability?
We did a RDA initially, and then I had to go back a second time with an NOI. Yes.
Okay.
So that's, and that both
So do we have that?
been
There's got to
completed.
be something from conservation. then.
Not, here's conservation, they don't have anything for it.
Okay.
Oh, well.
And you had to do an
if you-
NOI.
If you need it, I have the findings right here, if you need it, but
We'll
it,
take a look at it.
it came to me by certified
Can I
mail.
just, because we don't have anything from conservation, I just want to,
Oh,
trying
that's-
to move this along, so.
Of course, of course.
If you give me the order of conditions maybe or something? Yep. Just so I can see it.
If it was an RDA, would have been,
Already, well-
I tried to file as an RDA,
And then they kicked him into an
he
NOI, so
actually
he
went
should.
to a hearing,
Yes,
okay?
yes.
Oh, boy. Oh, so there's,
I'm not sure why they didn't notify you guys of that. That seems odd.
I think the
so,
meeting was,
appeal period is up?
Date, is there a date on it?
this is
I mean-
revised 9/23, that's quite a while ago.
So when was the date that this was, so is the appeal period up?
Yes,
It is.
yes.
All right, look, I'm gonna rely on, and certainly I see the 5 signatures. At this point, we're gonna move this thing along. You can take this back. Okay. All
You
right,
need copies of that?
No,
all right, are there any other letters in the file?
I can get this to you if you need it.
okay.
No other letters in the file?
Nothing.
David, what have you got?
I'm good. I'm good with this one.
All right. Anyone in the audience having to say about this application? Okay, board questions, any other board questions?
Nope.
Okay, having seeing none at this point, can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, can I get a motion, Scott, maybe, can you do a motion in reference to the actual application, please?
I'd like to make a motion to approve 9 Tuspequin Road, owners Mario and Gina Recupero.
Recupero.
I apologize.
That's okay.
If I did it wrong.
It's a little
Request a written
little Italian
finding.
name.
Under section 174-17, the zoning bylaws, to construct a sunroom addition in place of an existing rear deck to a pre-existing non-conforming structure on a property located in an R3 zoning district, map 72, parcel 8, Mashpee, Mass, with the following conditions. 1, the board has determined that the applicant meets all the conditions of a written finding under Mass General Law 40A, Section 6, site plan prepared for Mario and Gino Recupero.
Recupero.
Project 9 Tuspequin Road, date March 25th, 2025, revised 9/18/25, add dry walls, 10/3/25, add additional lot coverage notes prepared by Cape and Islands Engineering, stamped and signed by John McElwee, professional land surveyor, number 33602, building plans prepared for Recupero residence, 9 Tuspequin Road, proposed living area, proposed front, rear, left, and right elevations prepared by JB Design, dated 3/12/25, conditioned on all town departments read into this record, including but not limited to the Conservation Department and Board of Health. Any changes to the plans will require the applicant to return to this board. The board finds under section 174-17 that the proposed project is not substantially more detrimental than the pre-existing non-conforming structure or use to either of the town or the neighborhood.
And I'd like to just add to that, if I may, that the applicant has shown us an order of conditions signed by 5 members of the Conservation Commission, so we're of the presumption that he's all set with conservation. That being said, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you guys very much. I appreciate your time.
You're welcome.
Wonderful evening.
All right, spot.
Sure. I get you. I don't know. I didn't ask him.
Got it.
Just waiting for the signature. No, right up today. I'll do the next 3 motions, just,
Good.
or possibly 4.
Hey, I'll wait, man.
Not the first person to say that to me.
I gotta look at it.
Even today. Oh, you gotta.
Oh, boy. Let's see.
Thank you, Cash.
There you go. So that's gonna be the problem.
Yep.
I agree.
Sorry. Site plans.
You all set, Miriam? Yep. Good. All right, so, Mike, you want to read 291 Monomoskoye Road into the record, please?
Sure. 291 Monomoskoye Road, owners Jacquees and Moran, trustee, 291 Monomoskoye Realty Trust, requests a variance under 17433, setback to wetlands, and 17431, FN 16, structure lot coverage of the zoning bylaws to allow for construction of a 1,370 square foot, single-family dwelling on property located in an R3 zoning district, map 120, parcel 94, Mashpee, Mass. Continued from August 13, 2025, at the request of the attorney.
So,
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, Brian Wall, I represent the petitioner in this matter. I submitted a letter on Monday by email and by hand delivery yesterday. My client is requesting a continuance of this matter. The reason for the continuance is, you might recall that as the notice was read, my client owns a vacant lot on Monomoskoye, and Mr. Morris has determined that it is subjected to the setback to wetlands requirement and the lot structure coverage requirement. And we took an appeal of that decision, and this board affirmed Mr. Morris, and now that is on appeal at the land court. And we just filed the appeal. We're asking for a continuance of this matter to preserve our options. I know that the board would not want to continue this indefinitely, but we just filed the case, and we have a case management conference coming up next week. And so we're asking for a continuance until either December or January, or as late as the board might be willing to give us.
I have a concern with that, and I'll tell you why. Timing-wise, we don't want to be time-barred, and I understand, I believe, if you ask for an extension, we don't get time-barred, presumably.
Well, I would sign a waiver of that.
Yeah, more importantly, what rights are you preserving if in fact this board doesn't want to attain or agree to an extension? What rights are you preserving?
I guess my answer to that would be, you never quite know with zoning with regard to changes, so we have filed the application. We'd like to keep it pending while we
I
pursue
mean,
this other.
from my standpoint, I'd rather see you withdraw without prejudice, bring it back. You know, I've listened to David at the last meeting, and he felt that this should be brought to an end.
I heard that as well.
Yeah, I think at this point in time, I can speak as chair, and I believe people of this board are going to concur. We either vote or, you know, withdraw without prejudice.
Is that the consensus of the board?
I would agree.
I agree.
Okay. Then I'd like to amend my request, and I would like to ask that the board permit the withdrawal without prejudice.
I would entertain that. So the applicant is withdrawing this application without prejudice. Can I get a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Would you sign the appropriate documents, please?
Sure.
All right, great.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Well done.
Okay. While we get through this, I want to take a couple of minutes here, make sure this gets done, right? Let's just slow down a bit again. Make sure this gets handled.
Absolutely.
I want to see the document.
Before he leaves. Once you go right up there.
So did you have that already prepared?
Yes.
Just want to make sure.
Oh, yeah, that's right, okay.
Doesn't matter what we say,
All right, we're all set?
doesn't matter what line.
So, Kaj, would you like to read 868
Hold on a
Falmouth?
second, we probably have to do these signatures first.
Oh, sorry. I said, are we all set?
I'm saying no.
One more.
No respect for the
It's
new guy.
official now.
We got you.
Technically didn't need you.
1 second. All right. Cass, would you like to read 868 Falmouth Road into the record, please?
Yes, petitioner, Next Grid Town Oil LLC requests a modification to the existing special permit 92-53 and special permit 84-10-042 to allow for installation of 5 large-scale ground-mounted solar panels akin to carport structures at the end of the existing storage facility. This modification also includes 2 waiver requests presently pending before the planning board. First waiver request for setback relief, section 174-45, C to 100 feet to approximately 63 feet setback for solar PV carport structures. The second waiver request for maximum structure, height 174-47.7, allowance from 15 feet up to 23 feet of clearance for RV and boat storage on property located in a I-1 zoning district, map 88, parcel 2A, Mashpee, Mass. Planning board will vote on waivers only at its meeting on August 6, 2025, in the Requet Room of Town Hall, 16 Great Neck Road, Mashpee, Mass. 02649.
think it's not
Welcomes the public comment at this meeting. ZBA will incorporate planning board waiver vote into its final modification decision, convened from August 13, 2025.
Good evening, Melinda.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
We've been interacting a little bit.
Yes, so
you.
Melinda Costello with Weston and Sampson Engineer on behalf of the applicant NextGrid. Mike Pattison with NextGrid couldn't be here tonight. He was sick. So I just wanted to provide an update to the board from the previous time we were here. Was that back in August, I believe. So since then, well, the last time that we were here, I gave a brief overview. And as, I'm sorry, your name?
Robert.
What is it?
My name?
Yeah.
Robert.
Robert, sorry. As Robert just kind of summarized in the intro, we are proposing 5 carport structures at the back of the existing storage facility. And last time we were just pending Mr. PC's final review of the revised application. And we had some comments on the decommissioning estimate that was associated with the project. Since that time, Mr. PC's has provided his final letter with concurrence of our application, and we have updated the decommissioning estimate to reflect a inflation rate of 2.55%, and the applicant has agreed to reassess the estimate at a frequency of every 5 years with the town. And with that, that's all I have for an update, but I'm welcome to any questions or comments that the board might have.
Thank you. So if I can update the board directed me to interact with her and others from her team in reference to the decommissioning plan. The interest was a little on the low side. They agreed, increased it. I did some research on decommissioning plans for windmills, solar, and nuclear, and all three of them seem to include 5-year review periods, at which point I interacted with their team and asked for a 5-year review, meaning every 5 years, the bond will be looked at, make sure it's up to date. It could go down, I guess, possibly. It's a review. So in the O&M, it's been included. I think we're all set. Couple other just quick questions. You've already gotten the waivers from the planning board, right?
We did, yes.
Yeah, so at this point in time, this is like the end of the road for you?
Correct, yep.
I'm okay, the interaction was great, I'm fine with the O&M at this point in time. It includes the increase, the decommissioning plan. Some people mentioned to me when I was looking into this, oh, it's private property, don't worry about it. But there is some theories and there's some criteria where the town could get stuck if the decommissioning plan was not adequate, in my opinion. So it is now, in my opinion, adequate.
What's the final results of Mr. Pesci's review?
I have it right here. I can, instead of reading the whole thing, I
Is
can
there a
just read
bottom
some
line?
comments. Yep. This is from Ed Pesci, Pesci Engineering and Associates.
Joe Pesci.
Is it?
No, it's not. He's just got you.
Got me good.
It's all right.
Oh, boy.
All my previous engineering review comments have been adequately addressed, subject to my comments below regarding stormwater management. Then I'll read that. Weston and Sampson mentioned in their response that the final stormwater O&M plan will be signed and dated by the applicant, submitted to the ZBA and planning board for their records. Again, the signing of the O&M plan will ensure that the owner applicant is aware and understands the recommendation, maintenance, and inspections that will be required in the future. This is the highlighted part. I recommend, subject to the discretion of the ZBA, to approve the project, that the signing, dating, and submission of the O&M plan become a condition in the decision. Thank you again, assisting the zoning board.
So if you were to make a motion, just make sure we refer to Pesci's comment, please.
And I can provide an update. Since that letter, we have coordinated with Mary Ann, and the O&M manual is signed and has been provided.
Okay.
Is that noted on here?
Well, it'd probably be easier for the board to just make a condition on
Of
that.
course.
Even if you've already done it, you don't
Of
have to do
course.
anything else.
Yeah, that's
but
fine.
Just make a condition on that, and that way it's...
It's in here.
Oh, okay, good. All right.
I believe, well, after I read it, you'll know, but.
All right. David, do you have anything in reference to the application?
No, I mean, they did a lot of fine work here, and I just want to stress the importance of a fire lane being open at all times, because it's a little messy over there, and I think that that could get overlooked, and I just want to just put that out there, that is very important to me, and, you know, for public safety as well. But that's about it. They did a fine job. Thank you for cooperating with the town, and good luck with the project.
Of course, thank you.
I just have one question.
So, board members?
Yeah, how do we make sure this happens every 5 years?
So, that's gonna be the next thing I was gonna bring up at the end of this meeting. We've got so many O&M manuals out there at this point in time, many of which have needed oversight at rain events and various strategic times, and none of it's happened. And so, this is just gonna go into that same bucket. We've got tight tanks out there right now in various locations in the industrial parks that have never been inspected. We've got so many things. I have some thoughts on how we can start an inspection process, not us, but someone within our community, hopefully. I'm gonna sit down with probably Rodney, because we've got an O&M that is the planning board gonna make sure, and please don't take this wrong, hey, it's 5 years, don't forget, who's gonna do that? Nobody.
This goes by the wayside.
Exactly. An O&M plan is only as good as the person that's overseeing the O&M plan, just like speeding, right? I mean, if there's no police around, let's just go 150. My point in the whole conversation is when we have the gentleman present the peer review, I was thinking maybe having a discussion with him in reference to maybe looking into some of these O&Ms. I don't know, but this board has approved so many things that require O and Ms, and we've been hopefully on top of those O and Ms, but yet no one's overseeing the O and Ms. And it's a shame, because we're spending millions of dollars to protect our groundwater, or to change our problems with our groundwater that we've created over the years, and we're approving things with O and Ms to protect groundwater and all the rest, but nobody's doing a darn thing after we approve them. I don't know about you, I don't get paid enough to go out there every day, so, because we don't get paid anything. So my point is somehow we better institute a process. And I have some thoughts on that, if the board will allow me to pursue that.
Yeah, what do other towns do?
Most towns have over, I know, like, there are various towns, I'm gonna leave them unnamed, where there are people that have specific duties to oversee O and M plans. And other things. When we condition a permit, when the planning board conditions a permit, there are certain things that get lost, in my opinion. I'm not even talking about the planning board, I will talk about this board. I'm certain that there could be someone overseeing all that. And there are towns that have people overseeing that. Now, whether we can afford it or not, I don't know. But I can tell you, the millions of dollars we're spending to protect the groundwater, and yet we're doing something like, and I'm not specifically this, but I know tight tanks out there that we are trying to protect really nasty stuff from that could be overflowing right now. I think a gallon of gas totally wipes out 1 million gallons of groundwater. So my point is I think we need to look at this closer. But to answer your question, there are several communities that have people overseeing O and Ms. Our community has no one overseeing O and Ms.
Maybe that's a start to ask other communities, especially on the Cape,
Yeah, I'm gonna do a little
what
bit more.
they're doing.
I'm gonna do a little bit more research on that, but, I think that's important. But that being said, if I could just, any other questions from the board? Because I want to go to the
good.
audience. Anyone in the
We
audience?
just have comments from town planner, I don't know if they have to be read in.
Yeah, we should probably. Let me just go to the audience and we'll read. Anyone in the audience have any statement on this? Seeing none, all right. So,
The Board of Health had,
do we have any other letters in reference to this application? Any other correspondence?
another letter?
No about a letter.
Just the Board of Health has no comment, and
Why don't
Conservation
you
has no
read
comment.
the topics of the town planners?
And
Unless you
it's
wanna read
noted,
all
it's noted in the motion, too.
Okay.
From Brian Tobin, Town Planner, Planning Board approval of waivers of Next Grid Tung Oil LLC for solar energy system project for 868 Falmouth Road, Mashpee, Mass. 02659. Dear Zoning Board of Appeals, pursuant to Section 174-45-7F of the Town Mashpee zoning bylaws, the Planning Board for the Town of Mashpee voted positively to grant the following two waivers to the solar energy system bylaw for the application of the Next Grid Tung Oil LLC regarding its solar energy system proposal at 868 Mashpee, Falmouth Road, Mashpee, Mass. Do you want me to read the findings?
I think you're gonna have to. I think it has to be part of the record.
Relief from the 100-foot setback requirements to the residential lot pursuant to Section 174-45.C.2. I can't read those. What's after the two? Mine's like smudged. Is that a C?
Yeah. Yep.
That's a C. The applicant has granted relief to the setback for the structures to the southern parcel line as shown in the site layout plan, sheet C-101, in the plan set entitled Carport Mounted Solar Photovoltaic PV and Battery Energy Storage System, BSS,
Yes.
parentheses. The development at 868 Falmouth Road, Mashpee, Mass. 02649, prepared by Weston Sampson Engineers, Inc., for Next Grid Tung Oil LLC with the issue date of 3/31/25 and a last revised date of 7/17/25, the plan set, in parentheses. Said sheet shows exceptions to the following proposed arrays in the corresponding setbacks. Proposed array number 2, 63 feet to the southern parcel line. Proposed array number 3, 73.8 feet to the southern parcel line. Proposed array number 2, 84.7 feet to the southern parcel line. Number 2, structure height relief from the 15-foot maximum height requirement for the fixed tidal ground-mounted solar system pursuant to section 174-45.c.c.2.g. Relief is granted to a maximum height of 23 feet for the uppermost portion of the structure, inclusive of the panels, so long as the under portion of the structure remains at 15 feet, and the applicant revises Example 3 of the plan set sheet 502 civil details to show the 7-degree angle on the pitch array via a note to the plans, and to show more clearly the height differentials at 15 feet at the cross beam and 23 feet at the highest point of the inclusive of the panels. Regarding its rationale for these waivers, the planning board believes the vegetative buffer and downward sloping topography at the edge of the lot, coupled with the glare study showing that the project built with the waivers will not produce glare for the abutting residential structures, is sufficient to warrant said exceptions in this particular case. Note that the planning department strongly encourages the zoning board of appeals to examine closely the actual height differential between the maximum height in the structure and the tree canopy while considering elevation differences. Shortly before the planning board's vote, the applicant disclosed that the actual difference is only 3 feet. Witness the differential when controlling the elevation is 10 feet. The difference is because of the downward sloping topography such that the trees are a significantly lower elevation than their panels. Sincerely, Brian Tobin.
Any other correspondence? Okay.
I didn't want to do
So with the amended O&M, I'm all set. So at this point, can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion in reference to the actual application, please? And the application is for a modification to the existing special permit.
That's me. You can fold it.
I'll fold it up.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve 868 Falmouth Road petition of Next Grid Tung Oil LLC, request a modification to the existing special permit SB-92-53 and SB-84-10-042 to allow for the installation of 5 large-scale mounted solar panels akin to carport structures at the rear of the existing storage facility. The modification also includes 2 waiver requests approved by the planning board. First waiver request for the setback relief from section 174-45.c.2.c, 100 feet to approximately 63 feet setback for solar PV carport structures. The second waiver request for maximum structure height, section 174-45.7c2.g, the allowance from 15 feet up to 23 feet of clearance for RV and boat storage on property located in a I-1 zoning district, map 88, parcel 2A, Mashpee, Mass, with the following conditions. Condition 1, the board has determined that the applicant meets all the conditions of a modification to the existing special permit under Mass General Law 40A, Section 9. Number 2, site plan 868 Falmouth Road and 27 Industrial Drive, Mashpee, Mass. Boundary topographic and utility survey, date 6/9/23, prepared by Control Point Associates Incorporated, stamped and signed by Jerry Holbright, number 49211, professional land surveyor, also C001, notes and specifications, plan C101, site layout plan C501, civil details, and C502, civil details. Number 3, project plan, carport mounted solar photovoltaic PV and battery energy storage system development, G001, cover sheet C001, notes and specifications, C101, site layout plan, C501, civil details, C502, civil details, issue date 3/31/25, stamped and signed by Melinda Costello, civil engineer, 8/12/2025. Number 4, condition on all town departments, comments read into the record, including but not limited to the Board of Health, Conservation Department, Town Planner, letter dated August 11, 2025, and Pesci Engineering later dated September 7, 2025, and changes to the plan will require the applicant to return to this board. Any changes. Condition that, number 6, condition that the applicant seek and obtain the planning department review in reference to the tree bylaw, chapter 175 of the town bylaws, prior to the application of the building permit. It's only 3 more pages. 7, conditioned on the stormwater operation and maintenance plan dated 10/1/25, digitally signed by Michael Patterson, and operations and maintenance plan O&M, digitally signed by Michael Patterson dated 9/22/25, that includes the vehicle tracking exhibit E1HP-100 plan. 8, the board finds the A&R plan signed and approved by the planning board dated 3/21/25. 9, The board finds the proposed modifications of the existing special permit SP-92-53 and SP-84-10-042 are submitted, is not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood, and there is adequate land area for the subject lot to provide sufficient parking, and there are no nonconformities being created.
David, does that motion cover your concern?
Absolutely.
It does?
Yep, we're all set.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You're all set?
Okay, great, thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for working with us.
Of course.
Big plan.
Big plan, you folded up, and right here, and didn't even fold.
Well, because I went and you were talking and it was all crunch, crunch, you would have never heard anything.
You did the right
Give you
thing.
one thing to do.
Yeah, I know, you know, I
Did the
try
right
to,
thing.
I try to do the right thing in it, and I still catch static.
Wow.
What?
No, him.
Sign it.
Oh, you're gonna see about switching those.
What?
You're gonna see about switching those and then.
Switch, yeah.
Come on, do you want to sign it?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, they need 5.
So is there anyone here in reference to 19 Cricket Way? Excellent, because we'd like to take you out of order. Is that okay? That's perfectly fine. That way Scott can stick around and he can help us through this process.
Hang on, because you're going to sign.
Well, that too, see?
Oh, they gotta sign a couple things.
All right. I have to sign a couple of things.
Messed up the way I have my plans ready for you.
I figured I'd catch you by surprise.
Don't let him fold them.
Yeah, catch you by surprise and throw you right off.
Well, considering I have the next 4, it did really better.
Okay, I think that's it.
Is that it?
That's it?
Michael, would you like to read the first new hearing, which is, well, actually, we're taking out of order, so it'll be 19 Cricket Way into the record, please.
19 Cricket Way. Owners Nina M. Kokamazi and Amanda D. Ham request a special permit under 174-17-1 and 174-33 of the zoning bylaws to raise and replace an existing single-family residential structure with a new single-family residential structure on property located in the R3 zoning district, map 120, parcel 14, Mashpee, Mass.
Counselor.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Attorney Christopher Corain here on behalf of the applicant, who happened to be with me here tonight. So we are proposing a raise and replace under 174-17.1 and 174-33. It's a little bit of a hybrid one. We are knocking down the house, but the foundation is staying in place, so we're not removing the foundation. So it's not a total raise and replace, it's, you know, kind of just your house structure being and setting back on the same foundation. We are located in the R3 zoning district, Monomoskoye Island. As the board knows, your R3 zoning district requirements are lot size of 40,000 square feet, frontage of 150 feet, front yard setback of 40 feet, side and rear yard setbacks 15 feet, lot coverage is 20%, building height is 35 feet, and your setback to wetland where applicable is 50 feet. In this case, it is applicable because this whole lot is within land subject to coastal storm flowage, so we are 100% in a flood zone. So there, given that, we have several nonconformities. Our lot area for zoning purposes is 0, even though the total area of the lot is 9,320 square feet. So we have 9,320 square feet of upland, but 0 square feet for zoning purposes because we're in the flood zone. Our setback to wetland is 0, and our lot coverage is 100%. There are also 3 other setback nonconformities. Our front yard setback is nonconforming at 19.9 feet, where 40 feet is required. We also have a substantial shed, which is about 290 square feet, where your 2.6 and 2.4 on the existing conditions. So there are two plans. There's an existing conditions plan and a proposed conditions plan. So if you're looking at the existing conditions, it will show the setbacks for that shed. So again, for the shed, the rear yard setback and the side yard are non-conforming. We're less than 3 feet. And then for the house, the front yard setback. As a percentage of total lot area, we have currently existing 30%, 2,791 square feet. Our proposed coverage as a percentage of total lot area, that 9,320, is slightly decreasing to 29.3%. So there's a slight decrease. We're removing that giant shed, so we are going to be improving both those that side and rear yard setback. By removing the shed, we will eliminate any rear yard setback nonconformity and any side yard setback nonconformities. The house has been approved, it will be building code compliant, it will be flood zone compliant. The project has been approved by the Conservation Commission. I believe in this particular case, the IA septic system has already been installed, so it's not necessarily part of this project, but there is an existing IA system on the property. I think that was noted in the Board of Health notes. There are dry wells being proposed in the rear of the property. We're not creating any new nonconformities. I would suggest, as I always do, I provide photos of the surrounding neighborhood, certainly consistent with what's on Monomoskoye Island. I did provide a picture of the house that's directly abutting it over here, which is a substantial structure, and this would certainly be consistent, not even as big as that. So, and the height meets the height at 32 feet. So again, when we look at 174-17.1 for raise and replace, are we creating any new nonconformities? In this case, we are not creating any new nonconformities. Do we have sufficient parking? In a residential zoning district, you need 2 parking spaces. There is plenty of parking for cars. The last item for the board to consider is whether or not the project will be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than what currently exists. And again, I would suggest that it wouldn't be, because we are getting rid of that shed, which has created two nonconformities that will be eliminated. We are going to be building code compliant. We're going to be flood zone compliant. We're adding stormwater management. And again, we're consistent with the neighborhood. And also, if you look up here, on the proposed, there's mitigation, so as part of the conservation process, there's also mitigation. So given all of those things, we submit that this project is much better than what exists and would not be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than what currently exists. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
I'd like to read the comments into the record. Any letters, please? Let's read them into the record. Yes, you have any?
I have a couple clarifications.
You have one? I don't have.
I got conservation right here. 19 Cricket. Resource area buffer zone to coastal bank, buffer zone to salt marsh, buffer zone to coastal beach, and LSCSF. NOI application was approved unanimously due to improvements to the site through dry well installation, mitigation plantings, and reusing of existing foundation that will reduce disturbance to the resource areas and allow demolition to occur from the rear of the dwelling. A coastal bank stability report was requested by the commission and submitted by Sea Grant Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution due to concerns over stability of the coastal bank during construction. The report represented the load-bearing capacity of the bank to be appropriate during construction and for the increase of the proposed house.
Board of Health.
Board of Health.
Septic recently updated to an IA with 3 bedrooms. House plan shows 3-bedroom. COC not issued yet for new septic. Would recommend to avoid any vehicle traffic on septic.
Okay, so we want to make a condition upon that, right?
I don't have the motion because she didn't think I was going to be here. I don't have a motion.
So, do you have a motion?
Yeah.
All right. Just in case, we just want to make sure we have that. Any other letters, Mary Ann, that you're aware of?
No, that's it.
Okay, so, board questions.
I just want to make sure that later down the road, a couple of years, whatever, some sort of a shed does not go back on that property.
Yeah, obviously.
I can see that X number of square feet was put into the house.
Correct. And we're under, oh, I don't know if I mentioned this. Oh, I did, so 30% to 29.3, so we're actually going down. I think David would make very clear that this lot has no room for any expansion.
If one of the conditions would be no sheds or future sheds that would be allowed on this property, you okay with that?
No, because I guess I would say, if there was some sort of trade-off, say they removed the deck and wanted to put the shed, as long as they weren't increasing the coverage.
But David, I have a question. If somebody comes along and says, I want to
Remove
put a
the
shed.
shed, to put in a shed,
You
they'd have to
don't
come
check
to
the
the
lot
board.
coverage, do you?
They're already exceeding the lot coverage.
I mean, I don't think it checks.
29
Yeah, so my
he's
point
asking
is,
you
he's
check.
not checking lot coverage, somebody puts a shed on, I don't think.
Are you?
You're gonna have him do a certified plot plan?
Basically by memory, yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna make him do a
What happens-
certified plot plan for a shed?
5, 8, 10 years down the road.
I like to use them, but it doesn't always happen.
Yeah, so my point, Counselor, is there's a way to get by this process without, you know what I mean, it's,
No, I understand.
lack of help in town is, you could
No,
have
I-
somebody,
I mean, I think, if you put in conditions that noting that so the applicant knows that the lot coverage is maxed out, something to that effect.
well, I mean, all right, so.
I just think,
Lot coverage will not be increased.
right, yeah, I mean, that's,
Yeah, from the existing lot coverage that exists after the approval, after the construction of this, if in fact it's constructed, the lot coverage will not be added to,
right, yeah.
all right?
I think
Make
think
sense?
that's fair. I
Scott,
think-
if you were to make that motion?
Yeah, but I'm just not sure how to word that.
Well, we'll see. Just make sure, and so, board members,
lot
What
questions?
is the lot coverage allowed? Is it 25% or 20?
20%. Oh, actually, in this particular case, it'd be
25.
25% because it's
It's
less than
less-
10,000.
less than 10,000.
Less than
But it's still.
It's still over, so you would, this board would never allow
Yeah.
us to increase lot coverage if I came before this board for any type of another addition.
Yeah, in 5 years, we might not be here.
Well, I guess that's, I hope that's not the case, but.
There's a strong probability it probably won't be. So that being said, any other questions, board members?
Yeah, I just have a small one. I trust you and Mike Rosselli, no problem at all, but I'm just to look at the plan, if I looked at them for the first time, I'm looking at the existing conditions, and I see the size of the existing house with the deck, and I see the shed, I see the shed's coming off, I see the proposed house, and they're adding the new deck, covered deck, and the covered porch, and all that calculations.
Yeah, because we're also
Brings us
removing,
to-
there is also a decking from the house to the water that we're also removing.
Oh, okay, because that's not on the existing condition plan.
It should be on the
Is it?
existing one. Yeah, right here.
The boardwalk?
Yeah, that boardwalk is all deck.
Okay, it doesn't say removing, it just says,
Oh, well, if you look on the proposed, it's proposed.
oh,
path.
proposed path, okay, all right. I was just dotting an I.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah,
all.
and
I'm good.
there's Cantilevers too.
Well, the cantilevers are figured in too? Or do they have to be figured in?
I
I'm
think
sorry,
they
the
do.
cantilevers count as lot coverage. I make that clear to all the engineers, so Mike Borselli knows that he
Okay,
has to
that's
count.
why-
The cantilever has to be
Okay.
counted.
All right, I'm dotting an I, that's all.
Yeah, no, that's okay. As I said, I think that it's a good point, as I said, that boardwalk, which is decking structure, is being removed.
Okay.
Any other questions from the board? Okay, David, you have any questions?
Yeah, I get nervous whenever this new trend where people want to save their foundations, and especially in the flood zone where you say, oh, it's going to be compliant, and I looked at the plans and I see that they're making provisions to make that compliant, but I just want special engineering letters saying that they inspected the existing foundation for cracks and things like that, and will support the new additional weight that goes on that. So that's my biggest concern when these things are like, you're gonna reuse and it's becoming a trend for some reason.
And I think there should be there is a letter from a structural engineer, and given the last project that came before this board, I have advised all my clients that, that David will raise this.
Yeah,
as a
I don't
concern.
really see it as a money saver, so I don't really understand it, but it is what
In
it
our
is.
packet, is there a letter from the, not that we need it, but here's the point.
I submitted one that, I think I submitted one originally that needed to be updated because of the change from the 9th to the 10th.
I mean, I don't see it's really a structural engineer is gonna have to do an inspection after the existing house is removed, because taking this house off the foundation is gonna be somewhat problematic, right? And so you would think the structural engineers are gonna come in after that, maybe David will require that, and then certify.
Is that what you're gonna be looking for, a structural engineer to okay, because I'm gonna put it in the condition?
I think that's a good condition.
I think so.
Sure.
too.
Yeah,
We had this
the letter's
conversation on
right,
it.
right, the letter's right there.
Okay, well, I'm just
What
gonna
happens
condition
at the
it to.
back, they whack the corner.
Well, I gotta tell you, I
And
mean,
it
I've
cracks
I've
it.
been there, done that, and it's
We brought it
terrible.
up before, you were here.
Yeah, I was here, and again, I advised my clients on this project that, you know, this would be,
Listen, it's not our hunt, but, you know, I gotta
I
tell
think we
you.
conditioned it last time, something similar.
but again, there is a structural engineer letter, and again,
Yeah.
based on the last one, I certainly advised my clients that,
My concern is
You
more
want it
structural engineer.
inspected After it.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
yeah, that letter's for pre-construction.
yeah,
well, I think the letter says that it will support a new,
yeah.
You remove
today.
the old structure, you
Right.
could damage it.
right, you
That's
guys
the
know
whole
this much
point.
better
I
than I
would say
do.
there's a probability that you're gonna damage
Because
it.
it's bolted down to it.
Yeah. So.
All right, anyway, it's not our hunt. That's
It's a valid point, Matt.
That's David's hunt. But I gotta tell you, I would be very careful of that. All right, so audience input. Anybody in the audience have anything to say or any questions? Okay. Any more, all right, board questions?
I just have a question on one of the conditions.
Shoot.
The shed. I had, shed cannot be added without,
Well, I wouldn't even say shed, I would just say you cannot add to
structures.
lot coverage.
Additional lot
You
coverage.
cannot add additional lot coverage.
Right, lot coverage is maxed out.
As it is maxed out at this point. I mean, so.
Unless it come to this board.
Yeah,
Right.
Well, you can always, I mean, you can always come to this
back.
board for all the,
I do want to mention.
you need to come up to the mic and give your name and.
I do want to, sorry, my name is Amanda Ham. I do want to mention, one of the reasons we are removing the shed is because we are raising the house because of flood levels. So we actually had to build a porch on the front. So, because right now, it's an entry into the home right now from ground level. And so for us to enter the new home, we actually have to build a porch on the front,
so the
which
first floor is
increases-
gonna be higher than the existing first floor now? So
Yes.
you're adding on to the foundation?
Well, it's building up off the ground, so
With-
it'll be 5 feet off the ground.
With a wooden wall on top of the existing foundation, right?
Yeah. So that's the reason for the expansion of the porch, because you couldn't enter the house.
Okay, yeah, I'm just,
Dave,
I'm
does
here
that
to say, I'm
require
just thinking as a
inspections?
builder,
Yeah,
What's that,
how
John?
that's gonna happen, but that's nothing to do with this.
And think
When
think
this
about
happens,
shear.
does this require inspections at the time of?
Oh, we need
Yeah,
to-
we do all kinds of inspections throughout the project.
But they're gonna need shear
But
wall.
I can write on there the special inspection after a foundation inspection, before any buildings, I'll require a foundation inspection to satisfy the condition.
This is
Yeah,
kind of
it's
like.
really building part.
It's not our thing, but
We're builders, so we're
being
just
builders,
thinking,
we get concerned when people want to do things that may not make a lot of sense, but that's up to you.
it was
you
more
got a
for
structure.
You have a right to
Make
do
it
whatever,
work.
you know,
Make it
even
work.
nonsensical things.
Yeah, all right, well, thank you, I appreciate it.
All right,
All right, so, did you still have a question in reference to
well,
that?
the only two I'm adding is the lot coverage and the building commissioner approved that the foundation.
So I think you want to just make note that it is, the board finds that the lot coverage is maxed out at this point,
That's what I'm saying.
and there can be no additional structures that add to lot
I
coverage.
have that.
Without coming to this board.
Without coming
Board
back to this,
approval.
well, that goes without saying, you could always come to this board.
That's true.
We love to see you.
Well, not everybody comes to the board to put a shed on.
That is true.
Well, I
But
think-
not everybody looks up the record to make sure that when they put a shed on, that it's in compliance with the document.
Okay, I think I got
So,
it.
you know what I mean? It's,
I gotta
Yes,
reap
I
my
do.
chicken scratch when I write it, but I think I got it.
so, can I get a motion, have I checked off?
Oh, you should check with the public, maybe.
I already, I
Did.
checked with the public. Can I get a motion to close the public hearing, please?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion in reference to the application, please?
I will make that motion. Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve 19 Cricket Way, owners Nina M. Kokomazi, I hope I pronounced that correctly, close enough, and Amanda D. Ham request a special permit under section 174-17.1 and section 174-33 of the zoning bylaws to raise and replace an existing single-family residential structure with a new single-family residential structure on property located in the R3 zoning district, map 120, parcel 14, Mashpee, Mass, with the following conditions. Number one, the board has determined that the applicant meets all the conditions of a special permit under Mass General Law 40A, Section 9. Number two, site plan, proposed house prepared for Nina Kokomazi, plan dated July 29, 2025, scale 1 inch equals 20 feet, revised 9/9/25, and limit of work hay bale detail, dry wells, and dry well detail prepared by Falmouth Engineering, stamped and signed by Gary S. Labrie, professional land surveyor, number 40039, and Michael Borselli, civil engineer, number 35054. 3, design plans, Kokomazi Residence, 51525, 19 Cricket Way, A1 front and rear elevation, A2 left elevation, A3 right elevation, A4 first and second floor, prepared by Coastline Design. Number 4, condition on all town department comments read into the record, including but not limited to the Board of Health and Conservation Department comments. Number 5, any changes to plans will require the applicant to return to this board. Number 6, condition that the applicant seek an I want to add to that, number 5, any changes to the plans will require the applicant to return to this board, including any structural changes required by the structural engineer that changes the footprint. Because if he does something with those cantilevers, or just in case it happens. Number 6, condition that the applicant seek and obtain the planning department review in reference to the tree bylaw, chapter 175 of the town bylaw, prior to the application of a building permit. Number 7, the board finds under section 174-17.1 and section 174-33 that the proposed project as submitted is not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing conditions prior to the removal of the existing structure, and that there is adequate land area on the subject lot to provide sufficient parking in the lot, and there is no new nonconformities being created. Number 8, board finds the lot coverage is maxed out. Any additional changes that would increase the lot coverage would require the applicant to come back to this board for an approval. That's all right?
That's fine.
That's how I.
No, you said additional changes.
Any additional
I would say
changes.
any
to the
changes.
any changes to the footprint
Yeah,
would require the applicant to come back
Perfect.
to this board for an approval.
yep.
Number 9, the building commission will require proof that the foundation will have a sign-off from a structural engineer after the demolition of the home, before the new construction starts. Is that,
Well said.
is that?
It sounds
sound
good, yeah.
That's good.
So that's all good.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.
There you go. Josh, you had no?
Just sign some stuff.
Little signage. I'll make the motion on 89 Bluff.
See you, Scott.
Enjoy the rest of your evening, everybody.
I plan on it.
Have a great rest of your evening.
See you, Scott.
Need a haircut.
Yes, I'll be there. At the library.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Unless I get a better offer.
There you go. More. Send them. Okay, we're gonna ask if 4 is okay. And then he has to get 100%.
There's 2 more.
Before you have it read in,
Yeah.
gotta be 100%.
Counselor, we have a question.
Yes,
Are you here for 89 Bluff?
yes.
You've got 4.
I'm okay with that.
Okay. I wonder what's going through your mind.
You know the deal.
Yeah. I don't want to have to tell my client it's another month before they can get heard.
Yes, well, that has a positive and a negative
I
aspect,
know.
though. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
It's the way life is, though.
Yeah,
All right, so you're okay with 4 to move forward?
I am.
All right, that being said, let's see, Mike, you want to read 89 Bluff Ave into the record, please?
Sure. 89 Bluff Ave, Owners John and Kirsten DeSanto request a special permit under 174-17.1 and 174-33 of the zoning bylaws to raise and replace an existing single-family residential structure with a new single-family residential structure on property located in R3, in the R3 and Papaneset Overlay Zoning Districts, map 118, parcel 58, Mashpee, Mass.
Good evening again, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Attorney Christopher Corain representing John and Kirsten DeSanto. They're the owners of the property at 89 Bluff Avenue. As the hearing notice states, we are here under 174-17.1 and 174-33 to raise and replace an existing, pre-existing non-conforming single-family dwelling. This project is, this house is located in the Pompanesett Overlay District. As the board knows, our Pompanesett Overlay District minimum dimensional requirements are 6,000 square feet of lot area, 60 feet of frontage, 25-foot front yard setback, 15-foot side and rear yard setbacks, 25% lot coverage max, and where applicable, a 50-foot setback to wetland. Again, in this particular case, the 50-foot setback to wetland is applicable because we are 100% in a flood zone. So we have 5 nonconformities. The first is, because we're in a flood zone, we have 0 square feet of lot area, although total upland is 7,653 square feet. But again, for zoning purposes, 0 square
Look
feet.
those over.
That means we cannot meet the 50-foot setback to wetland because we're in a complete flood zone, so we're non-conforming there. We have 100% lot coverage because, again, it's wholly within a flood zone. And then we have 2 setback nonconformities. And it's both on the side yard. So we are 9.8 where 15 feet is required and 12 feet where 15 feet is required. Those are our 2 dimensional nonconformities. The coverage as a percentage of the total lot area is 21.14%. That is 1,618 square feet. We are proposing to increase that to 24.94%, which is 1,909, which is about a 291 square foot increase in structure coverage. But again, in the Pompanesett Overlay District, our max is 25%. So as a, what's the word I'm looking for, but, you know, as a...
Structure coverage.
Yeah, as a structure coverage, as this board has normally looked at these projects in the flood zone, the percentage, you know, is consistent with what this board would approve. We are also improving the northwest side yard setback, so that's going from 9.6 from 11, so that's an improvement. We're also improving the southeasterly side yard setback, which is going from 10.1 to 12.5. The new house will be building code compliant. The new house will be flood zone compliant. Not only will it be flood zone compliant, even though it's in the AE zone, this project will be going up on piling, so it'll be, the Conservation Commission has approved a project that actually is going to be more flood zone compliant than what would normally be required under FEMA regulations in the AE zone. So, as I say, this project is actually, house is actually going to be on piers, which is not what's required in the AE, but what has been agreed to and what was approved by Conservation. There is an IA septic system being installed. There is a stormwater infiltration system, which is going up here and is noted stormwater infiltration, 2 infiltration, quick, 4 high capacity.
The strong.
Chamber there, so that's shown on the plan. There is mitigation that's also proposed as part of this plan. We're not creating any new nonconformities. We're not increasing any bedrooms. This is consistent with redevelopment that has been approved by this board in the neighborhood. I would cite the 81 Bluff Avenue project that was approved by this board about 2 years ago. So all in all, I think this project, well, again, under 174-17.1, this board has 3 elements that it must find. One is that there are no new nonconformities being created. There are no new nonconformities being created. That we have sufficient parking. Again, in the R3 zoning residential zoning districts, 2 parking spaces for a residential structure. We have 2 parking spaces available for the residents, and that the project is not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than what currently exists. And again, with the project being flood zone compliant, going up on piers, which is over and above what's required, with it being flood zone compliant with the IA system, with the stormwater management, where we're not creating any new nonconformities, where it's been approved by Conservation, where we have mitigation, and the consistency with development, no increase in bedrooms. I think all of these factors should have this board agree, it's our position that it is not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than what currently exists. So with that, Tim Luff is with me, he's the architect for the project, happy to answer any questions that the board may have.
Letters read into the record. We want to make sure those are done now, please.
Board of Health.
Yep.
Plans show three-bedroom septic design for three-bedroom must be submitted to Health Department for official review before building permit is issued. For zoning, BOH has no issues. House is in Zone 2 and cannot add more than the existing three bedrooms.
Okay.
Observation?
Yep, please.
Notice of intent, resource area, LSCFF, and buffer zone to coastal dune. Notice of intent, application was approved unanimously by the commission due to the improvements to the resource area, with proposed dwelling being on piers, a septic upgrade and mitigation, planting on property where currently little native plantings exist.
Any other letters, Mary Ann, do you know? Okay, board questions.
Not really.
Yeah.
Issues at all. It's all fine. They've run off.
Yeah.
Which way does it slope, I wonder? Does it slope towards Bluff Ave?
I think it actually slopes more towards the back of the property.
Trying to look at the contour lines, so 75.
So it's 11 at the house, we're at 10.4 by the rear of the
Yeah.
property, so there's a little bit of, I don't see any,
Mostly flat?
yeah, I think it's mostly flat. I brought pictures of the property as I always do, provided that to the board. I think it's a mostly,
No, it's not gonna be a problem.
Okay, David, what do you have for questions or concerns?
I have a question for Tim, I guess. It's about flood vents and, in the foundation plan. I don't see any flood vents. Is this an open wall?
Yeah, that's, the reason is, David, because conservation held us to a standard that is a velocity standard. So there's no flood vents required for velocity. We have pretty much a lattice system that goes around the entire foundation. The water's gonna come in everywhere.
it's on piers.
It's on piers. There are no
Alright, so-
foundation walls.
There's no, so the openings need to be 3 inches in every direction. Are you aware of that?
Yes.
Okay. And then we'll have an elevation certificate filled out showing that it will take the flood, what it needs to do. All right, very good, that's
Yeah,
all.
and also it meets the +1 as of July 1st. So the flood elevation is +2.
Yeah, but, but I'm saying the elevation certificate showing that it's not engineered flood vents, that they're open walls, they're not breakaway walls, they're open lattice walls. They have to be 3 inches wide, and that will, yeah, but they have to show that, it's quite a big footprint for, a little small lot there. It's 1,500 square feet, so you need you need to cover 1,500 square feet as if they were flood vents, so,
100%, and we have that,
yeah. It seems like that would happen.
we have about 80% of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you probably double it, yeah, it's
Only
it's
because
it's
we're-
overkill,
because we're all-
yeah.
yeah.
But that's good, but I just wanted to let you know that a lot of things have been proposed and they're not 3-inch spacing.
Gotcha.
So it's a quite open area, you might want to
And
put
if the, and
insect.
if the client doesn't want 3 inches, we'll do breakaway panels.
I'm not happy with that, but, there's no need for that. This is not in a V zone or a coastal A.
I wish you
So,
was-
I mean,
we're
it's
sitting on
almost
the
like,
Conservation
it's
Commission.
almost like, is that gonna help or hurt,
Yeah.
you know?
Okay.
You would, even if you had the breakaway panels, you would still now you need engineered flood vents. So, you know what I mean? The design, I don't understand the concept. But,
Neither do we.
but as long as the 3 inches there, I would put in, insect screening, because it's wide open. And just to let you know, because I've been running with problems against these already. You know, with the openings aren't wide enough.
In an A zone or a V zone?
They're all in A zones, you know, I haven't had one in a V zone yet, but one's coming up.
Okay.
Okay, audience participation. Anyone in the audience like to speak in reference to this application?
Coastal
Seeing none.
A zone, I
Okay, thank you. Going to go back to the board. Any other questions? Okay, so everybody's all set?
Do I need to make note of 3-inch openings?
Do you want us to condition this application on 3-inch openings, David, or you all
No,
set?
that's
on
good,
it?
it's a building code thing.
He's up to him.
Okay,
Okay. All right, so can I get a motion to close the public hearing, please?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, can I get a motion reference to the application, please?
Okay, I'll make that motion. All right, 89 Bluff Ave, owners John and Kristen DeSantos request a special permit under 174-17.1 and 174-33, the zoning bylaws, to raise and replace an existing single-family residential structure with a new single-family residential structure on property located in the R3 and Pompanesett Overlay zoning districts, map 118, parcel 58, Mashpee, Mass, with the following conditions. Number one, the board has determined that the applicant meets all the conditions of a special permit under Mass General Law 40A, Section 9. Number two, plot plan, proposed house reconstruction, prepared for John and Kristen DeSanto. Scale, 1 inch equals 20 feet. Date, July 21st, 2025. Revisions, August 21st, 2025. Changed house support to piers. Prepared by BSS Design, stamped and signed by Thomas Bunker, number professional land surveyor 32653. Number three, design plans prepared for DeSanto residence. A-1 foundation piers plan, A-2 first floor plan, A-3 second floor plan, A-4 elevations, A-5 elevations prepared by Architect Associates, date August 18th, 2025. Number four, conditioned on all town departments' comments read into the record, including but not limited to Board of Health and Conservation Department comments. Any changes to the plans require the applicant to return to this board. Number six, the applicant seeks and obtain the planning department review in reference to the tree bylaw, chapter 175 of the town bylaws prior to the application of a building permit. Number seven, the board finds under 174-17.1 and 174-33 that the proposed project as submitted is not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing conditions prior to the removal of the existing structure, and that there is adequate land area on the subject lot to provide sufficient parking, and there is no new nonconformities being created.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You're all set.
Okay.
So, Counselor, you see that the next meeting is going to be the same scenario, right?
Yes, I understand. Thank you.
Okay. Coming down.
Coming down. Coming that away.
So I'm stepping out on this one. I'm out.
Yeah. La-di-di-di.
We're at 4?
Four. Okay. Bob, you want to read 19 Uncle Henry's Road into the record, please?
19 Uncle Henry's Road, owner Monica B. Miller, trustee of the Monica B. Miller Revocable Trust, agreement of November 4, 2019, request a written finding under 174-17 and 174-33 of the zoning bylaws to allow for construction of an addition to the rear of the existing structure and reconstruction of an existing deck on property located in the R3 and Pompanesett overlay districts, map 117, parcel 281, Mashpee, Massachusetts.
So there's only, Counselor, you recognize fact that we only have 4 members to hear this, right?
I do. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am prepared to go forward with the 4 members.
Great.
So again, for the record, good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Attorney Christopher Corain, representing Monica Miller, trustee for 19 Uncle Henry's Road. With me tonight is Timothy Luff, who is the architect for the project. This is a application for written finding under 174-17 and 174-33 to make certain additions, expansions to the existing single-family residence. We're located in the Pompanesett Overlay District, which again, as the board knows, we have 6,000 square foot minimum lot area, we have 60 feet frontage requirement, 25-foot front yard setback, 15-foot side and rear yard setback, 25% lot coverage max, and where applicable, we're 50-foot setback to wetland. This lot is almost entirely in the flood zone, all but 31 square feet. So for zoning purposes, the lot is 31 square feet, and we have 100% lot coverage. We cannot meet the 50-foot setback to wetland. There is also one other dimensional nonconformity. On this side of the house, we are at 12.2, which is nonconforming where 15 feet is required. Otherwise, the front yard setback, the rear yard setback, and the other side yard all comply. What the basically is being proposed, and Tim can help me if I don't get it, but I tried to highlight in blue what is being added to the existing house. So you can kind of see it here. There's opening here. There's going to be deck filled in here. And then where this white is and around here is going to be additional living space and then the garage. So what I've kind of marked off in blue, this is where we're adding deck here. This is the additional living space back here with a kitchen, pantry, and workout room, and then the garage here. And then where the existing garage is
the living room.
Is now becoming a living room. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay. So we are not affecting the one non-conforming setback at 12.2 that is over here. We're not touching that, so we're not intensifying that or changing that. The garage is still going to be compliant. It's more than 15 feet away. So we're not creating any new nonconformities. The rear yard setback is going to comply as proposed. The side yard setback is going to comply as proposed. And the front yard setback is going to comply as proposed. As a percentage of total lot, of total area, it's currently 18.6%. That is going to be increased to 24.87%, going from 2234 square feet to 2984 square feet. But again, it's within your tolerances of under 25%. The new additions will have to be flood zone compliant. It'll have to be building code compliant. There is even though it's just additions, there is an IA system that's part of this project. There's dry wells being proposed. This has been approved by conservation. There's significant mitigation proposed, reduction in lawn area. We're not creating any new nonconformities. There are 2 parking spaces available, which is required in a residential zone. And again, provide photos of the surrounding area. I believe that this is consistent with what's in the neighborhood. Again, we're just expanding the existing single-family dwelling. We're not knocking it down and building something that's, it's still going to be 1 story.
Correct.
It's a 1-story structure. It's going to continue to be a 1-story structure. We're not increasing the bedroom count. So again, under 174-17, it's, all the board needs to find is there's sufficient parking and that it's not substantially more detrimental to the neighbor than what exists. So again, we're going to be under the tolerance for coverage by structures. We're not creating any new nonconformities. We're not intensifying the existing nonconformity other than the coverage. There's mitigation, there's an IA system, it's been approved by conservation. So all in all, I think that this project can be found to be not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than what currently exists. So with that, I'm here to answer any questions. I know Tim's here to answer any questions as well.
I have some questions, but what I like to do is read everything into the record first as far as comments. Guys, you got anything down there, Board of Health, Conservation, et cetera, please?
Conservation, let's see. Resource areas, LSCSF. Notice of intent application was approved with a 3-1 due to IA septic upgrade, dry well installation and mitigation plantings over the required amount with plantings of 6 trees. Concerns over removal of native vegetation for purposed garage addition was approved due to overall improvements on site. I don't have anything on Board of Health.
I have Board of Health.
You got-
Yep, 19 Uncle Henry's Road. Plans show 3-bedroom, septic design for a 3-bedroom must be submitted to the Health Department for official review before building permit is issued. For zoning, BOH has no issues. House in Zone 2 and cannot add more than the existing 3 bedrooms. No door on workhouse.
Okay, any other comments? No. All right, so I have a couple of questions. One that's a little bit out of our lane, but I'm trying to understand. The last application used a sledgehammer. This application, you're using a fast system. What predicates the difference between the two? Why would you pick one over the other for an application?
Talking about the septic system?
Yes,
2 different engineers.
I see. So basically, engineer-wise, you think?
I'm thinking preference by engineer.
I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
it's
out of
out of
my-
our lane, but I'm
Yeah,
just trying
and
to.
that's out of my purview because
Okay.
I didn't author those, but that's my guess.
Gotcha. All right. So, question in reference to groundwater on this specific lot. I'm looking like this is pretty high groundwater. And you may not be able to answer this, so
I'll see if I can.
I get concerned about, keeping the water on site, right? We all understand Uncle Henry's in that whole area, right? It's concerning. I get concerned about dry wells, and then I see over here groundwater, and when you do the perk test, it's right there, right? So, adjusted groundwater elevation 3.3. And you're putting dry wells in the ground to capture water, then probably part of that dry well's in the groundwater. Just thinking.
Yeah, I mean, this is.
I don't know how you're gonna, there's not a lot of flood, there's not a lot of storage there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty flat lot
Yeah.
by the photos. I mean, this is an engineering firm that comes before this board as much as any other one. So I know.
Well, that
I
doesn't
know.
make me,
I understand that. It's just that I'm not the engineer. I mean, I assume they designed it, they know these things.
Is there enough,
that's a
there
good
enough
answer, they
space?
know these things. Say again?
is there enough space to capture the water?
Well, they designed it.
Yeah, they've
I mean,
engineered it.
They've
Well-
engineered it.
And it passed the conservation test because that was a topic.
Well,
of
but I gotta
discussion.
tell you, things have passed conservation before. It's almost like this board is left up to flooding issues. I've questioned a couple of applications that were redesigned based on, and I'm not doing this, I'm just saying that were redesigned due to my questioning. And, additional basins were added and calculations amended and, I
Would
run,
it- Would it please the board if we put a condition that once the dry well was installed, that it had an inspection to make sure that it wasn't in groundwater?
Well, I'm not so, it doesn't matter to me per se that it's in or not in groundwater. More, it just says to me that's a reduction in storage, and I'm trying to understand how, the bottom line question is to what storm is he keeping all the water on this site? And is he using DEP or is he using, no, I need to know, I need to understand to what degree is he dealing with water on this site? I don't want to be in a position, I've said this 100 times, where a next-door neighbor that doesn't, that doesn't understand what can and cannot happen, all of a sudden there's construction out here, and we have more impervious areas that are created, roof lines, right? More impervious, areas, and then all of a sudden, we have a neighbor that's inundated and wasn't inundated before.
Right.
I don't want to be there.
No, I understand that. I mean, as you know, Cape and Islands generally brings the same design standards at each one of their projects. I think, it's generally 10-year or, storms.
Well, they
moved up a little bit.
Well, and it depends on who's doing the application, who's doing the work, and I've seen from 10 to 25, and I've seen they use NOAA and they use DEP, and it's all over the place.
Right, I mean, all I can say is that generally speaking, this board, and they can certainly do it on this project, that there's a condition that all stormwater stays on site. And if somebody inspects
Well, I
it.
mean, all stormwater up to a storm, up to a given storm, I mean, it's not always gonna stay in sight.
No,
but-
I understand that, but if the board says that, we want to see all stormwater stay on site up to a 10-year storm or a 25-year storm, and it doesn't, then, we have to come back to David and install more dry wells.
I would ask the board that this engineer at least submit some calculations to me, and I need to see them, and I wanna look at them, please.
Then I think I would suggest hopefully a condition that the chair would accept, that we submit drainage calculations, and that if the chair is not satisfied with those, that they provide additional stormwater management dry wells. I don't think that dry wells need to necessarily come back to this board.
I'm trying to move it, because I understand we're meeting, the way that our schedule is. I'm just trying to make sure that, to reduce our liability to the neighborhood.
I don't have any issue with a condition that we submit drainage calculations to the satisfaction of the board.
Neither would the client.
So I would say, if it's okay with the board, that drainage calculations submitted, including, just drainage calculations would be fine. And then I will take, if you want, I'll take a look at them. Any questions I have, I'll get back to the engineer, and we'll take it around the block a couple times like I did the solar, if that works for the board.
Going forward, because I'm trying to push some of these engineers to do this ahead of time.
What should it be, 25 year?
Well, it's not that, but when do you want to see drainage calculations? Anything in a flood zone, or?
Here's the thing for me, I'm more area located. I mean, we know this area,
Right,
it's
like
like,
Kim
it's like, I'm not,
Right.
Uncle Percy's, right? I mean, there are some spots around here that I'm gonna be pretty tough on, right? Because I think we have to be. I think that's part of this board's marching orders, right? Is to protect individuals as best we can that live in this community. That being said, I see that this whole lot's in a flood zone. I see the groundwater because I see a fast system design. I'm looking at the perk test, I'm looking at the groundwater elevation, and I'm looking at the elevations that go over these dry wells, and I'm thinking that half of the dry well's in the groundwater.
Right.
And then I'm sitting there saying, I'd like to see his calculation. Did he use the bottom of these structures as calculations? I'm presuming he doesn't. He's an engineer, and I'm not even an engineer, but I've seen things crazier. Sure. And so I'm gonna do everything I can in zones that concern me to do what I can.
No, I appreciate that, and again, I don't, as Tim says, I don't have any issue with the
Yeah.
condition, and I don't think the client would have
So
any issue.
why don't we just, he can submit it to Mary Ann, I'll come in, I'll take a look at it, and if I have any questions, I'll ask the question, and we'll bring it to the end. He doesn't have to come back to the board unless we can't come to the end of the road, then he can't satisfy me.
And to answer your question
So how
moving
do we
forward,
want to word this?
certainly
Submit drainage
town-owned roads
calculations. The board
would be,
I think as a general, I'm probably gonna just suggest that the engineer do drainage calculations.
Take it up, David.
Yeah, take it off.
for board approval.
I'm playing, what did you just ask, David, I'm sorry?
he asked, moving forward, where would you like to, I said certainly on town-owned roads as well.
I'm gonna tell you, once we get
Not
once
just
we
every
get
neighbor-
to a
and
point
probably
where I
every
can get
neighbor.
some input from some various people, I'm gonna be better to answer that question. Mary Ann and I are working on a couple things, i.e. some application forms and various things, because that's come up a couple of times, right, Mary Ann? We've kicked that around. There should be some guidelines, for applicants, and, you know, we don't have that, and we should have that. Shame on me as chair, but I can only do so much. So, you know, at this point, at least I can look at this and see what my thoughts are as a novice, and take it from there.
And again, we, as I said, we don't have
Yeah.
any objection to the condition.
And so, that being said, you had a question, John, and I think,
How do we want to word this? Submit drainage calculations to the board for final approval?
you can do that, and you don't have to come back, I would say, but they can filter it to me, I'll ask the questions and get it teed up,
Yep.
so that the board should be able to approve it.
Okay.
Is that, okay? So I'll work with the applicant, Jonathan, and get it teed up so that the board should be able to do a checkoff. Is that good?
Yeah,
Yeah, all right.
better than not doing it.
Well, that's how I feel. I mean, it may accomplish nothing, it may accomplish something, but I'm hoping that we hope to keep people protected. So,
That brings up a question. You asked, what should we come with calculations? I would certainly think that anytime it's 100% in land subject to coastal storm flowage, you should have some backup for dry wells.
and you raised the question, and I'm an old school guy. I have a computer that I can run the rational method in drainage. So I have and it just so happened that we had an applicant come in here. I asked him what the method he was using. He said rational. So I was able to put it into my computer. He was off by about 30%. He was under designed by 30% roughly, and admitted it to Mary Ann's like, I kind of blew it. And so I didn't want to say who, why, where. That's not my goal. My goal is to get the plan. And he had and that applicant, I don't want to take too much time, but the applicant had several letters from abutters. We love the job. We love this. They just didn't understand that, we love the job, even though we did get flooded out and we no longer can do the things we used to do on our property because we're now flooded because of this house that just got built. Okay, so my point in saying that is, he's an engineer, good quality engineer, just made a mistake, as we all do. And so, I think that's important. But anyway, board, any other board questions?
Nope.
Okay, I need to go to the audience. Anyone in the audience have any input, questions, issues in this? Okay. All right, so again, board has no questions? You understand all right. Can I get a motion to close the public hearing, please?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Bob, you want to second that? Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Do I have can I get a motion in reference to the application, please?
Yeah, I'll make the motion. All right, make the motion to 19 Uncle Henry's Road. Owner Monica B. Miller, trustee of the Monica B. Miller Revocable Trust Agreement of November 4th, 2019. Requests a written finding under 174-17 and 174-33 of the zoning bylaws to allow for construction of an addition to the rear of the existing structure and reconstruction of an existing deck on property located R3 zoning district and Pompanesett overlay districts. Map 117, parcel 281, Mashpee, Mass, with the following conditions. Number one, the board has determined that the applicant meets all the conditions of the written finding under Mass General Law 48, Section 6. Number two, site plan, prepared for Monica Miller, 19 Uncle Henry's Road, date June 20th, 2025, revised 7/23/25. Update/add setbacks, 8/26/25. Add mitigation, reduce driveway, 9/30/25. Add zoning table, prepared by Cape and Islands Engineering, stamped and signed by Jacob Frickel, professional land surveyor number 59305, 7/23/25, and Mark Dibb, engineer number 45937. Floor plans, Miller Residence, 19 Uncle Henry's Road. A1, first floor, A2, elevations, A3, elevations, prepared by Architect Associates, date August 1st, 2024. Number four, conditioned on all town department comments read into the record, including but not limited to the Conservation Department and Board of Health. Number 5, any changes to the plan will require the applicant to return to this board. Number 6, condition that the applicant seek and obtain the Planning Department review in reference to the tree bylaw, Chapter 175 of the town bylaws, prior to the application of a building permit. Number 7, the board finds under 174-17 and 174-33 that the proposed project is, as submitted, is not substantially more detrimental than the pre-existing non-conforming structure or use to either the town or the neighborhood. Number 8, the applicant will submit drainage calculations to the board and work with the board chairman for final approval to make sure everything is working order.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
After I sign. Excuse me. Yep.
You're gonna come back after, right?
Yep, just let me know.
Okay.
So, yes, he's in conflict. At least he feels he's in conflict. We have a problem, Counselor.
I don't know. Do I even have enough people that,
You do not.
I can't even hold a meeting?
No. You're down to 3. No, not for you. No.
No.
I tried to work through it, but at the last minute, we had a member that called in sick. I know how important we try to get to that point because of our meeting schedule, but I couldn't do it. As I've said before, we all need a raise.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So if we don't have a quorum, could I say
You
something?
can't even open the
I
meeting.
can't even open the hearing.
So I can't even say anything?
No, you shouldn't. I can't open.
Unless David says he wants to withdraw the violation.
That's, then, you know, I mean, I don't know if you, I don't know, if I should say anything or not, but I have a statement here,
Just be careful, please.
well, 9-4, I don't know if you're aware of it, but honestly, I wish this didn't come to the board, and I wish we had discussion. I was just hoping that maybe we could, the reason why I did this is not because of a zoning violation. Why the letter I wrote did not refer to a zoning violation, 174-31.1. It did not refer to that at all. It was just basically a reason to spark conversation about this fence. But it came straight to the board without that conversation. So I would rather settle this in a conversation outside the board on any fence dispute. Basically, because my understanding is most of them are civil offenses, or they are handled civilly and not with this board. I hate to bring these to the board, and that's all I want to say. If I'm
I
not
would say,
overstepping.
Counselor, I would recommend that you sit down with our zoning enforcement officer. There may be some light at the end of the tunnel that you don't have to wait for the next meeting.
Right. Well, in that.
And I don't want to go too far with this.
No, I mean, the fact that we have to continue this anyways for lack of a quorum gives us that opportunity.
I think that's the way to look at it.
Oh, that's fine.
All right, so, that being said, I don't,
Just has to go to the November
Yeah,
12th.
right?
Okay.
Sorry, it was a last minute thing, and there was nothing we could do.
There's nothing you can do about it, I understand.
Yeah. But hopefully it'll work out anyway.
Yeah, we'll take the opportunity to have the conversation.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I can't make a motion. I can't do anything, my hands are tied.
I would just say, by agreement, I don't even know, by agreement of the parties, well, I think you just continue for lack of quorum, that's all you can do,
Yeah.
so. All right, well, have a good night, everybody.
Thank you very much. So on your way, if you could just send Jonathan in or someone, I can get him if I have to. Let me get him. I got him. You want that in? So at this point, we're all set with that, right? Yep. So we're gonna go to Beals and Thomas, discussion of peer review. Gentlemen, how are you?
Very good, how are you?
I am great. I just want to make sure this board understands that I've never met these gentlemen. They come highly recommended to me by 2 or 3 of my engineers that highly recommend their peer review process has been very good to them, been fair. Their prices have been fair, and their work has been fair, and they've been treated fairly. And that's very important for us as peer review, and the protection to the community was top-notch, and that's what's important to us. So the floor is yours. Tell us why we should hire you.
Great. Well, appreciate those comments, to hear that feedback from engineers that we've worked with on other peer reviews. But for sake of introduction, my name is Dave Lapointe. I'm a registered landscape architect and principal with Beals and Thomas. Here tonight, as well as Dan Gagney, who's a professional engineer with the company. Just in terms of some background, the company has been in business since 1984. Our main office is located in Southborough with another office in Plymouth. We are approximately 40 employees currently, which consists of civil engineers, landscape architects, land surveyors, wetland scientists, and other land use and permitting specialists. So we do a lot of different types of work in our office. We do commercial development projects, other private projects, as well as public work, primarily a lot of park and recreation type projects. Currently, we're doing some culvert replacement project for different municipalities, but then also we do peer reviews for various municipalities, whether it's planning boards, zoning boards of appeal, or conservation commissions.
The list is pretty long. I was impressed with the list.
Over the course of our history, we've worked in, I don't recall the number, but somewhere around 35 or 40 communities throughout the state. Currently doing work, peer review work in Falmouth, Wellfleet, Medfield, Sturbridge, Rentham. We've been doing work for many, many years, Plymouth. So a little bit of variety in the municipalities as well in terms of size and types of projects that come before those various boards. I can turn it over to Dan, and Dan can give you a little bit of an overview of how we would typically conduct a review.
All right. Thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening. Typically, when we do a peer review, we receive the plans, the documents from the applicants or through the town. Then we'll go and we'll make a site visit out to the site. We'll take a look at site conditions, how the site will interact with the butters, how it will interact with traffic conditions and other utilities or site conditions that, can't always be seen on a piece of paper.
Thank you.
Then we'll take that information back and we'll sit down and we'll take a deep dive into the plans and the reports and the applications that we receive. And we'll run through and review those for how they fit with the zoning bylaws, any of the waivers or relief requests that they're going through, and then how the plans fit with typical engineering standards and design procedures. If there's a stormwater component, we'll review them for compliance with Mass DEP standards. From there, we'll go and we'll develop a very detailed comment letter reviewing each of the pieces that we feel that, should be addressed more. We work with the board to try to address comments, and not so much to just go and say, this is wrong. We want to work and get things forward. Typically, our review process goes, we'll get the information back to you guys. You'll provide it back to the applicants. The applicants will provide a supplemental document with either revised calculations, plans, and then point-by-point information on how they're responding directly to our comments. And from there, we'll see if they've addressed things, or if we need to go another round and do the same.
Great. So I have several questions. You want me to go first?
Sure.
Can you recommend to this board standards for various aspects? You were listening, this board does not have standards for submittals of, drainage calculations. Who to use, DEP, no, who do you, 25-year storm, 50-year storm, I'd like to have everything designed 100-year storm, but that's not realistic, right? And so, can you recommend to this board standards somewhere down the road?
Certainly, we would be happy to work with the board in developing standards for stormwater type pieces, yes.
Right?
Especially in coastal communities like Falmouth, as you said.
Yeah,
It'd be
yeah.
Kind of the same type of situation as Mashpee.
Yes, and we have helped other municipalities as well with some revisions or rewrites to some of their, whether it's subdivision rules and regulations or zoning bylaws. We've assisted Plymouth in some cases, as well as Salem. There's probably some others I just don't know off the top of my head, but yeah, we've done that as well.
So let's talk about the peer review process. Applicant comes in, this board says, oh my God, it's got a lot of drainage. This is, up here for us, right? So we're sending this for peer review. First thing we do is we ask the peer reviewer what kind of dollars we should obtain from this applicant, which is held by the town and, submitted or released to you upon, the work being done. So is that the process you're normally used to doing?
Yes, yes. So typically with any of our municipality or peer review contracts or arrangements that we have with towns, that's essentially the process. An applicant submits their materials as part of the typical submission process. The usually administrative assistant or town planner, whoever it may be, for that board provides us with the documents, the plans and calculations and other forms and other materials and whatnot, gives us an opportunity to look through it, to understand how complicated or complex the project may be. We develop a scope of services with a fee, send that back to you, which then you presumably run by the applicant to make sure they're okay with the price and can provide those funds. And then once we get the go-ahead that it's been approved, we start the review, as Dan described, doing site visits and, looking through all the documents.
This board does not have per se working capital, so it comes from an applicant. Although, with this board's approval for me, I'd like to go to the Board of Selectmen and obtain some capital to do some of this stuff like, what should be our baseline drainage calculations? What should be these various things? We need to do that, in my opinion. Now, so in other words, go to the Board of Selectmen and say, first get a price from them and get $5,000 or something so that they can come back to this board and give us a recommendation as to what we should be requiring.
Right.
Because at this point, we don't.
What other coastal towns use for,
Exactly.
and why we should use the same standards.
Right. And maybe we have to use higher standards. I don't know. I mean, we've got areas in town, maybe
Right.
different for each area. But my point is that's something I'd like to take a look at. Also, when you do peer review, at the end of the job, you get, let's say, you get an as-built. Do you send a letter, or are you willing to send a letter to the town zoning enforcement officer and this board that says this as-built drawing or this as-built construction process or development is in substantial compliance with the plans and specifications? Are you willing and can you do that?
So usually what would happen is that we would review the as-built and we would primarily opine on whether or not it was constructed in accordance with the approved plans, and point out any deviations. That's also typically a requirement of the design engineer, that they are the ones that are providing the letter that says that it's in substantial compliance with the approval, but, we can be a second set of eyes, so to speak.
We don't really approve them until
Right, but
we hear back.
I get, how do I put this? I want to be as diplomatic as possible. I get concerned about a design engineer stating that it's in substantial compliance with his plans. You know, I'd rather see maybe that person submits that to, that engineer submits that to you, but there's got to be some type of review by you that says that we are in concurrence with that document.
Right. It could be handled very similar to the actual design, application, that they're submitting it and they're standing behind it, but then, like I said, we could act as the second set of eyes. If we see something that doesn't look quite right, we can work with them, provide some comments, and then, come to an agreement, hopefully, in regards to the as-built, because the project's already been built at that point, that it is either in compliance with the approved plan or whatever deviation there may be, it's not going to be any detrimental effect to the neighborhood or anything
I
like
can
that.
think of 3 or 4 things within the last 4 or 5 years that if we had that process, it probably would have kept us out a little bit of a problem. Only because, we're novices sitting here and none of us are, none of us are engineers.
We're all volunteers.
Yeah, I mean, and Frank, I have a little bit of drainage knowledge, just enough to be dangerous, just enough to question people. And that being said, I would love to see something that kind of insulates us meaning the town, all of us sitting up here, from the possibility of making that mistake.
Well, I think the first thing you said was, maybe we need to get a set of standards for the town.
Yeah, I mean, that's
That's
huge.
probably the first thing.
That's really important to us, and in order to do that, we need someone like you that's gonna set the standards to protect our community. I'm asking applicants what the standards should be.
Yeah.
My God, for me, that's crazy. That's hello, I mean, come on, let's.
Which, you're in an interesting situation, I think, here, because from at least just sitting here tonight, the applications that you were reviewing were single-family homes.
Yes.
Where they're probably not meeting any kind of threshold or criteria that puts them before the planning board, which the planning board probably has some of those standards already in place.
Well, they do and they don't, and they're looking for their own peer review, they're doing their own thing, and I get that, but you're right, we're on our own in a lot of these applications.
Yeah.
And then we even have some industrial submittals that that do not go to the planning board, they go to design review or whatever, and it's recommended at that point that they go to peer review.
Yeah.
And so my point is some of them are pretty heavy-duty drainage calc. And then the next thing is they've got these very long O&M manuals. Those O&M manuals, we review, I review, okay, and I look at them and we make some changes, and then they go on a shelf and they never get looked at again. I mean, we've got tie tanks in this town that have never been looked at since they've been installed. They're probably overflowing with whatever. So that's another thing that we need to look into is, how do these O&M manuals get overseen and get enforced?
Checks and balances.
Yeah, I mean, we have a speed limit, but there's nobody to enforce it. And it's crazy, right? So these are all the things that we need to look into as a board. And we need someone, I guess, like you, and a little bit different than peer review, although setting standards for this board is kind of, that type of scenario.
Right, and every municipality that we work with, too, kind of approaches things a little bit differently as well. Some towns, we'll just do the peer review related to the design application that's submitted up front, and we provide our comments, and then that's the end of our involvement. Others, they want us to be on site during construction, making sure that, the gravel or stone beneath the subsurface, infiltration system is being inspected, that sort of thing. And then others go so far as to do the as-built review as well. But again, it's just dependent on the town and how they want to see things, reviewed throughout the whole process.
I'm gonna make a statement as a developer that I should never make, because I hate this statement, because it happens to me all the time. It's not my money, so I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so the bottom line is I like the last one, which is the whole, I want the A, B, and C.
Yeah.
I don't want A. I want A, B, and C. At the end of the day, I want to make sure that someone that's working for this board says, thumbs up, across the board, it meets all the criteria, it's in substantial compliance with the plans, we've watched it through construction, we love it, it's spectacular.
Meets the minimum standards.
Exactly, and it's in substantial compliance with the plans and specifications. So I want the deluxe version. because it's not my money.
Yeah.
That's all. I mean, it happens to me all the time, so, I mean, I have no problem doing this. Now, I don't want to be abusive, certainly. I don't want to, I mean, it's not my goal to just, overcharge applicants. That's not my goal. But it is my goal to protect this community.
Right.
Okay? And so,
That's what it's about.
exactly.
That's
And-
why we're
and-
here.
And so if we've got if that applicant has to spend money to have a peer review done that takes it from A to Z, not just from A, but A to Z, then that's what the applicant's gonna have to do. And that's one of the first things that I discussed with my engineers, is their pricing fair? Did they treat these people fairly? Because frankly, I've just had peer review in a couple of communities, and I got annihilated. The numbers were just, I'm like, it cost me more for the peer review than the design, than the original design. And I brought that up, and I got nowhere. I don't want to be there,
Yeah.
but I do want to be in a position where this town's protected.
Right, right. And that would be our goal as well. As Dan said, that, we're not really looking to point things out that are wrong per se, but we want to make the project better, hopefully, because typically with any type of a project that's going to be coming before a board like this, you're never going to make everybody happy with the project. But the idea is to try to make it at least suitable and acceptable to whether it's the applicant, you as the board, other townspeople, the neighbors, that sort of thing, so that, nobody comes away from it, being, impacted in a negative way by the project.
Previous engineers that did reviews for this town many years ago would make suggestions saying, this doesn't look good, let me suggest this. This doesn't, I know you put it on there and you did it, or you want to do it, but I don't think it's a good idea. I think you should be up here on this step, not down here. Is that the type of stuff you can work with us on?
We can to a point, but we try to make sure that the projects are owned by the design engineers. So we can kind of work with them to guide them towards that, but I'm never going to go out and say that, this needs to be 3 feet higher because that's what I want. It's going to be, should you make this higher and how do you get there? My designs, my review work is mostly on what's the code, what's the regulations, how is it done correctly?
But see, that's our exactly point. For us,
Yep.
you don't have a code or a regulation. You don't have a design criteria. So I think there's got to be a starting point, well, not a starting point, because we'll have applications we're going to need your services on sooner than later, but we've got to get to that point where we have design criteria so applicants know what's expected of them, and you know what to review. We don't have either at this point. So I'm gonna see what I can do.
Yeah, they send stuff in. I don't know if it's good or bad.
Well, look at
I don't know
anybody else.
anything about it.
Yeah, well, anyway, it's all great.
I
You guys-
agree with you, what you say about the deluxe package, though.
Yeah, I
When
mean,
you
I-
want it, top to bottom.
I mean, the
You wanna
town does
cover-
not have a town engineer, is that correct?
Well, we have DPW director, but yes, I don't know. I can't answer the question. I know this, we do not have, once Mr. Pesci leaves, we do not have our own peer review company, right? Which
Right.
I get very concerned about some of this stuff. And some of these even single-family homes, you didn't see anything really tonight, but there's some single-family homes that I was on the verge of actually looking at a peer review, because frankly, they're in some real tough areas, and I'm sitting there as a novice looking and putting into my own computer saying, this doesn't work, it's not even close. And I'm like, this is not right for this community to have to put up with this. And
So we-
frankly,
We need somebody to guide us.
yeah. And again, and I'm gonna
Do you
be
agree with
told,
that?
yeah,
Some of these are getting more and more complicated.
yeah.
Yeah, they are.
And I gotta tell you
Instead of
something, I
professional
have,
eyes, right on.
that's why I asked the first question of the 2 engineers I spoke to about you guys is, are they fairly priced? Because frankly, I want the whole menu. I want A, B, C, and D. And that's not gonna be inexpensive, but it's gonna protect our community. And I just wanna make sure that I can look an applicant in the eye and say, I'm treating you as best as I can treat you, but I need to make sure that I protect our community. And I need to make sure that all the work that you've done, it was done correctly. Now, correctly means to, just to the standards that are acceptable in the engineering field. So, that's where we're at. So I think what I'd like to do is see if we can come up with a couple bucks, to see if we can set some design up so that we can pay them to do some design, some criteria for us.
Absolutely.
And at that point in time, if it's okay with the board, we can take a vote or whatever the board wants to do in reference to this, and
Wouldn't that normally be the job of the town engineer to say, I don't agree with this, this isn't up to standards? But we don't have that person.
That's true. We need to have a peer review company or peer review entity that we can go back and forth with, interact with, ask some questions of, and like.
Does this make sense, this plan?
That was
Yes or
happening
no?
with prior to you was Mr. Pesci, who was retired, okay?
Before that was Charlie Rowley.
Charlie Rowley did a lot of peer review on me. I did a big job in this town, and he said things like, you can't use the bottom of that leaching basin for drainage calculation. I'm like, Charlie, why? He says, because within 6 months, the porosity is gonna be gone, and I'm not gonna let you use it. And so my design was always like 150%, because you can't, and he wouldn't sometimes let me use some of the sidewalls, a foot up from the bottom, because it was all gonna get, the porosity was gonna get reduced so quickly, and I now get it. I understand what he was doing. He was protecting the town. And that's the stuff that we need. And we need that. We need somebody with common sense, somebody who's fairly priced, common sense, protect our community.
Is that something you can offer us?
Yeah, I think absolutely we can do that, because we do work on both sides. Like I said, we do design projects as well, that our work gets peer reviewed also. And we actually welcome the peer review comments, because no matter how much you try and engineers will stamp their drawings, you're never going to be 100% correct on the first try. You're going to probably miss something here or there, or something could be designed a little bit differently, which is going to have a little bit of a different, solution to the design problem. But like I said, being on both sides of the table, doing design work for projects as well as in peer reviewing gives us a kind of unique overall perspective coming from both directions.
Understood. Well, I'd like to, next peer review we need.
The applicants are paying for this, correct?
That is correct.
So why not protect ourselves? They'll know that going in, once this is in
For
place.
For the most part, it's 99% commercial, industrial projects. It's not residential projects.
Yeah. And we have a fair amount of those. I mean, and they have, like I said, they have O&M manuals that I read and the board looks at, and we amend and we change and we alter, and then that O&M manual goes somewhere. I don't know where. And some of the criteria is, a 2-inch rain event, this event, that event. It has to be, you got to go out and inspect the rain garden or the sumps and this. It's never been done.
Yep.
It's never been done. So,
Have you heard this from other towns also?
On the O&Ms, yes, that's a common thing. I mean, you look at them and often you'll have, they have to be you have to have street sweeping with a vacuum machine, 4 times a year. Nobody ever does that.
But correct me if I'm wrong, if they don't do that, then we are impacting our environment negatively.
Yes. Yes.
You take a tight tank that's been put underneath, and I'm gonna say an area where a guy's spraying cars. He's doing, spraying, paint on cars, right? And all that's going into a tight tank, right? And that tight tank, as well as I do, to get cleaned out or drained is very expensive. That's the most expensive. Installing the tight tank isn't a big deal. It's keeping up on it, meaning cleaning it, is the big money deal. Yep. Big money. It's hazardous waste. Yep. Never done one it's never had one done in this town, but we have tight tanks. Where does it go? I have no idea. We're spending millions of dollars in this town to put sewers in, to protect our groundwater. And we have people that are running all over town with signs saying, protect our groundwater. But not one of them is looking at O&Ms and all these other issues that is impacting 1 gallon of gas. What is it? 1 billion gallons of water, just wipes out 1 million gallons of water. What does a gallon of paint do? Oh my God, come on. Yeah. And I'm not picking on the painters of our community. I'm just picking on the fact that these tight tanks have never been looked at. This is craziness. It's just, for me, we've got to have some standards, and somebody's got to be looking at these O&Ms and keeping up with them. And frankly, you know, I can't be that person. But anyway, we could be here for hours and there's no reason to be. So what does the board
Maybe
wanna
one
do?
last question. Backlogs. When, let's say we call you and say, we've got a big industrial project going on. We'll have the plans in 2 weeks. You pick up the plans. What's the timeline? 2 weeks to, from that 2-week period to how long before it's, I mean, are you really backed up? Is it, give me some idea of how long this takes.
Right,
And
so.
are you backlogged?
Yeah, so we don't have a extensive backlog of work, but for any project, when we're asked essentially to provide a proposal, we look at our workload to get a sense of the timing, but we would work with you to understand, you know, the schedule of when that project has been submitted and when they're due to be before you for their public hearing. And what we try to do is do our review and get our initial review letter finalized and submitted a week prior to that public hearing, so that then the design engineer has an opportunity to review the letter, understand what our comments are, and even start talking with us and opening that line of communication with us to get things kind of worked through before they even come to that first meeting. So hopefully by that time, potentially some of those things can even be crossed off the list that we had pointed out that, you know, we had a little bit of concern about.
That's great. Really good. All right, well, look, as far as I'm concerned, I'd like to move forward with this and say to Mary Ann that the next time we have peer review, they're sending it your way, right? And start the process. How does the board feel?
Absolutely.
All for it?
I agree.
Okay, so, I don't know, do we need a vote? What do you think, Mary Ann?
I don't think so. I think,
Why don't we take a informal?
All right.
Take one anyway, right?
So what do you think, Mike? You all set with this?
Yes.
Okay. Bob?
Okay with it, yes.
Yeah,
And Ron, we're all set. So you are our official peer review moving forward. And let's see how it works out. Let's see how the marriage works. We can always divorce each other, right?
I
Just
suppose.
the way it works.
All right.
Thank you very much for your time.
All right, sounds good.
You come very well recommended.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Inviting us in.
Yes, look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Likewise.
All right, so, Approval of 2026
Yeah.
ZBA public hearing schedule.
right, so now we're back to a month. except
We are?
January, and of course, you know, because I'm taking a vacation at the end of January.
So who took, what's her name's place?
Tammy,
Yeah,
it's Alyssa.
yeah. Nice girl.
I'm sorry? I've not met her, no.
Nice girl. I think looks like she's doing a pretty good job.
She's gonna sit in next week.
Yeah, she's actually
Good.
here for next meeting.
Yeah, which will be at the library.
Correct.
Yeah, I won't
She's a
be
nice
there.
person. I think she's doing, well, I don't know what job she's doing.
Doing an excellent job.
There you go.
I
Hit the
got a
ground running.
question, though. If you'll notice, one of the meetings is at the library, at the end of the year in November.
Okay.
It's gonna, does the board want to have that meeting at the library? Because the second Wednesday is when we usually meet of the month, and that's a holiday, that's Veterans Day. So, not this November, next November, okay? So-
November of '26.
Correct. So the next day, you know, the next week is in the middle of the month, it's the 18th. I put the library because the planning board will meet that night.
Well, that's why we're meeting next meeting at the planning board, at the
Exactly,
library.
yeah.
Doesn't matter to me.
Doesn't matter to me.
I care less. We can meet at your house.
Oh, your
Right? No, wherever. Just make the cookies. It's fine with
I can do
me.
that.
Oh, boy.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, all right,
All right, so do you need a vote on that?
yes.
Okay, so,
I make the motion that we approve the offering of the 2026 ZBA public hearing schedule.
second.
All right, thank you.
All in favor?
No.
Aye.
I figured you'd say that because I seconded. There you go.
You're supposed to be running the show.
And then the last thing is the minutes, right?
Right. So someone like to make a motion reference to
I'll make a
September
motion that we approve the September 10th, 2025 meeting minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
There you go.
Make a motion that we adjourn.